Hi, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Ask a Witch. And the question I got asked this week, this fella ordered a debt-free candle, and he just said, "Will this help?" And my answer to him was real simple. It was, any energy you put toward the goal that you have is going to help. But the question most people are really asking when they say, "Will this help?" is they want to know, "Will this be enough?" And that's a question that's very relative to their situation. I mean, if you're talking about, I need money to pay off the $25 I lent to my Aunt Carol or borrowed from my Aunt Carol, that's one thing. If you say, I'm $50,000 in debt and I need to get rid of that, that's going to be a much bigger project. So it's all got to do with the materials we're working with in your life. How much motivation do you have to get out of debt? How many opportunities do you have to get out of debt? How many opportunities do we have that you're just not using? And so those are all considerations we got to work with. There's some people that are actually saying, how do I get out of debt without changing anything in my life? And that's really not going to work too much usually. There's a saying in witchcraft, it's as above, so below. And that means that when we offer things up there in spell work or in ritual, you've got to do the work down below. You've got to do the mundane work that's going to assist that magical work, or at least give it an opportunity to come in, that's going to make a road for it to come in. I got people that'll say things like, I want my boyfriend from high school to contact me. It's been 30 years and I haven't talked to him in between. I don't even really know if he's alive or not, but I want him to reach out to me and find me on Facebook. And they want that to happen without them doing anything to make that happen. So there's no bridge. They don't know his life. They don't know if he's happily married and got a family and has no interest in reaching out to somebody else. They don't know if maybe he's widowed and grieving and not in a place to have a relationship. They just know what they want. And they're trying to put their spell work around that. Now, wanting something's real important in spell work. That's your primary energy. But you also need to do the groundwork to find out what you're dealing with, because that's going to change the amount of energy needed to make that happen. Here's another thing. What if you didn't end well with that boyfriend and he's hated you for 30 years? That's going to be a pretty tough wall to climb. So we've got to look at what the circumstances are. And here's a harder problem. The person doing this spell work or ordering the spell work usually doesn't have all the information they need, no matter how close they are to that situation. There's always things going on we don't know about and can't incorporate into the spell work or account for. So that's why when we're doing spell work to achieve a goal, we do it based on the idea of, and this is tough and it's kind of job security for me, so it sounds questionable that I say it, but we're going to keep throwing energy at it until we get what we want or find out why. Sometimes after investing a lot of spell work energy into something and a lot of mundane energy to something, it doesn't happen, but we find out why that's not a good thing for us, or why maybe that's not a good thing for somebody else involved with it. So there's lots of nuances to doing spell work. It's not just as easy as I'm going to light a candle and it's going to happen. If it was, every 10-year-old would have a pony, and they just don't. So there's other considerations involved with spell work. So here's the example. That fellow that asked me about being debt free, he asked it in relation to this. This is a debt free candle that we're burning for him. And this is with the idea he's got a business that's in trouble, wants to get that up, wants to get some debts off of his shoulders. But there's a whole other aspect to what's happening, and that's what's happening with the people to whom he owes the debts. Being debt free in theory means paying off your debts. Sometimes it means being forgiven of your debts. So there's, again, a lot of nuances, a lot of moving parts to that situation. So involving money, another question we have is that of money draw. How do I draw money into my life? Because it's not always just about paying off your debts and getting out of a hole. It's also about drawing in money. And there's lots of ways. I mean, you can Google online and find tons of spell work about drawing in money. There's lots and lots and lots of different ways. We all have our preferences. I'm just a real big fan of candle magic because I can really juice the candle up with energy and burn it and just let it rip, and it just continues to send energy toward that goal for the 3 to 5 days that candle's going to burn. And you can do the same. I mean, you don't have to have, I mean, these are all on our candles. We have labels that we made and created in order to identify the type of energy that we're putting into the candle. So if somebody orders a candle from us, it's going to have a label on it. And that's just in case maybe you order multiple candles and you want to know which is which. But it also tells us this is a debt-free candle. That is the energy we're investing into it. If you're doing your own work, you probably don't need a label. You can make one. That's additional energy going into that. But you can just as easy take a Sharpie and write on a blank candle. I want all my debts forgiven, or I want to be able to pay off my debts in full. I want to be out of debt in 2 years, or whatever goals you're setting for yourself. I want to draw in money. I want to have enough income, steady income, that I feel secure and safe financially. Write your goals all over that candle. That's putting energy into the candle. Now, every candle that we do for somebody, we have a process we're going to go through. Now, you can see stuff floating around in there in that wax. What we do is we pull the candle, we decide the color. Now, white is good for anything because it contains all colors. White is the presence of all colors. Black is the absence of color. So you can use a white candle for any kind of magic you're going to do, and the color magic will be there. I could use a green candle for this. I could use a gold candle for this. Any of those would work. So what we're going to do after we choose the color and put the label on it is we're going to hold it, we're going to pray over it, we're going to spend time with it and get energy into that candle toward the specific person who has requested us to do this. And then we take an orange stick. That's just a wooden stick used for manicures. You can use skewers. Toothpicks aren't so good because wax is hard. And we poke 7 holes into the top in a circle around the wick. That's 1 hole for each of the 7 chakras. And this tells us that the energy of this candle is going to go to that person on 7 different levels, 7 different access points into their energetic system. And then in that hole, we're going to put oils that are sympathetic to the goal of the candle. So in this case, we would have used showers of gold oil, which draws in money. And when we've got the oil in there, we're going to put herb on top of it. And this is going to be money drawing herbs. So these are going to be things like bay leaves and marigold and things that draw in money. And once we got the herb on there, don't put too much herb or it'll snuff out your wick. You're just going to do a little sprinkling around it. And after we do that, we put a little bit of glitter on there, not non-toxic glitter. And it's got to be real fine. And we just sprinkle it all around there. And what that is going to do, you can see the glitter that's up against the glass here. I hope you can. That glitter is going to make a mark on the glass whenever the candle is especially active. So what that does for us is that tells us that the candle was especially active Tuesday afternoon or Wednesday morning. And what we can do is go back and see what was happening during that time, what was elevating that energy, and do a little, not post-mortem, but just tracking of the energy of the candle. Now, we don't do that. The person on the other end that's seeing results or experiencing that is going to do it. But we can say, hey, it looks like a couple days ago, this candle was really jamming. What was happening with you a couple days ago? So that's how we do the candle magic. I've got another video on snuffing out candles. Now, for me, I don't put the candles out if I'm burning for somebody, or I just let them rip. They go straight through. I move them to a fire safe place for night burning when I'm not around, but otherwise they're just going for the whole time. Now, that's your candle. On top of your candle, you might want to put other little accoutrements or things around it that are going to build the energy level even higher. Now, on that candle, you could have just burnt the candle, but you added in the oils, you added in the herb, different things, the color of the candle, put another layer of energy on top of that. And it's all about upping your energy so that you're getting the most bang for each increment of spell work that you're doing. So every layer or every new thing you put in addition to that candle is going to up the aggregate energy that candle is putting out. And that's our goal, because we want to reach the energetic load that your goal has. And that might take many candles. And I've got to be honest, most of the time it does, because this stuff doesn't happen easy. You got to invest the energy into it. So let's say we got this guy's candle going. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to go to my tarot decks and my oracle decks, some of my favorites, and I'm going to pick out cards that represent the goal of the candle. And then I'll take those cards and I will set them around the candle so that their energy can infuse that spell work. And you can use any deck that has the cards that support your goals. You can put little rune tiles around it that support the goals. Any, the witches, what are they called? Not the witches' runes. Maybe they are called the witches' runes, but the little amulets that also support prosperity, put those up there too. You can lay pennies or nickels or dimes all around it. Heck, I one time took $100 bill that I happened to have and put it on top of there and said, come on, bring your brothers in. Bring the rest of these guys in. You can also use little statues, like this is Lady Fortuna, the goddess of abundance, and I used her. This is a little money tree, a jade tree. I used that, and this all went around this guy's candle. This is shungite, and it has some pennies in it and a little heart. So to me, that represented abundance. Little golden Buddha is also good for money drawing. And green stones or gold stones. This looks real dark, but it's actually a green piece of jade, and that is good for money drawing as well. Also, it's got to do with what strikes you as money drawing. And so one of mine that I just got for Christmas, actually, my son got for me, is this ball. And it's copper colored, and it's got a little copper, this is orgone, and it's got the copper spring in it. And that spring is around a little crystal. And this is not, the bottom of it is blue, which isn't really conducive to money drawing. That's more for relaxation. But what's going to happen when you have enough money to pay your bills? You are going to relax. And also, when I look at this, I just think gold. I don't think copper, I think gold. So to me, I have a knee-jerk reaction of prosperity when I look at that. So guess what? It goes on the money altar. I have a little, I don't have it in here right now, but I have a palmistry hand, and you can get these on Amazon or anywhere, but it's just a little white hand, and it's got the palmistry lines on it. And I take that sucker and I just drop all my change in it so that it looks like the hand is overflowing with money, and that becomes a prosperity tool. You can take a bay leaf, write your name on it, put that next to the candle. That's a prosperity tool. Take another bay leaf, write your name on it, put it in your wallet. Take another one, write your name on it, put it in your shoe. That'll lead you to the places where you can make this happen. So those are all ways that you can build the energy toward prosperity and wealth and being debt free. And so to answer the question I got is, will this candle help? Yes, it will, all by itself, just the candle. But I don't know how much. So I hedge my bets. And when I'm doing the work, there's going to be other things adding on to it, laying energy on top of it. I might even burn a money drawing incense while I do the work. That'll help too. So when you're doing spell work, look at your layers, and will it help? Yes. And if you've got the layers, it'll help more. Is it all going to happen in one candle? I can't tell you that. In fact, you don't know that. I don't know that. Nobody knows that. We just keep putting energy toward it until you're getting what you want. So that's the answer to that question on, will the debt-free candle help? I hope that was something valuable to you. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. That's our Ask a Witch for this week. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.